Hello my friends, it is I, about to review another Zeiss Otus mirrorless lens. And you know, every time that I review these Otus lenses, I have to stop and think like, historically when I've played with these lenses, yes, they've been very interesting optically, well corrected, but insanely expensive and with a lot of compromises. And so I guess Zeiss said, well, let's let Chris review another one. We'll make it the best ever because we'll make it a 35mm f1.4. Here it is. This is what I'm going to play with today. And this is interesting because, to be honest, Zeiss hasn't made a 35mm Otus before. And so I guess I'm honored to play with this. I have to admit, though, I'm still held back by the history of it, and I'm expecting more of the same. But I'm Chris Niccolls, this is PetaPixel, and we're going to find out together. Okay, so you may think that I stopped here to take a photo because there's a bra in the tree, but that's Jordan's fetish. That's not mine, that's his thing. It was the squirrel, I swear to God. That's what I was taking a photo of, was the squirrel, not the bra. Where's that squirrel? So this Otus 35mm looks exactly like all the other Zeiss Otus lenses, which is a good thing. I mean, I love the yellow silk screening against the Zeiss blue insignia, all metal construction. I mean, everything's tight and premium. It looks fantastic. Hard metal knurled rings, really nice aperture ring, a 67mm filter diameter on the front, and as you can see here, a really nice metal and flocked hood. Now, because the Zeiss lenses do tend to use larger glass elements and all metal construction, these are a little bit on the heavy side, 698 grams. It's not intolerable to walk around with. I mean, it feels sturdy, but you definitely notice it when you're walking around. But this does come with solid construction. I mean, these are rugged, they're weather sealed. This is a manual focus helicoid. There's no autofocusing on this lens, but I do like that they include electrical connectivity between the lens and the body, so they speak together, so my camera knows the focal length and I get all the EXIF data. And to go along with that electrical communication between the lens and the body, you can get this for Sony E Mount, Canon RF mount, and Nikon Z mount. It'll talk to all of those. Still not L mount, unfortunately, but that is a good spread. But it is time to hear from the sponsor for our video now. B&H is a wonderful place to get pretty much anything you can think of when it comes to photographic gear, videographic gear, and professional audio equipment. They've got a huge store with tons of stock, and right now there's a really great way to buy stuff at B&H. Just get one of their Payboo credit cards because this gives you two big advantages. So first, you can buy all of your gear and save the sales tax. B&H will refund the sales tax back to you when you make your purchases. To check your eligibility for Save the Tax benefits, visit bhphoto.com/payboo, or you have another option. You can finance expensive purchases over 6 months or a year using your B&H Payboo credit card, and this just makes it a little bit easier to spread those costs over a longer period of time. But as always, remember that this is a credit card, so you want to use it responsibly, and you do have to get approved for this card. So to learn more, go to bhphoto.com/payboo. So look into getting your own B&H Payboo credit card today. It is provided to you by Comenity Capital Bank. Zeiss Otus lenses are famous for having fantastic optical design, and these are apochromatic lenses, which means that they're well corrected for lateral chromatic aberrations. This is where you might see purple fringing, for example, against something high contrast, like tree branches against the sky. Jordan, that's your tripod back there, by the way. Don't forget it, okay? Yeah, don't forget it. It's a nice tripod. But what it doesn't do well with is longitudinal chromatic aberrations, Bokeh. This is where you get color fringing in the foreground and background out of focus areas. And unlike lateral chromatic aberrations, it's very hard to get rid of. But looking at our test chart here, you can see we're still getting Bokeh. This is an issue for the Zeiss Otus lenses, and I wish it wasn't there. Okay, time to talk about Bokeh on this lens, and ooh, it's pretty nice. Look at it, at 1.4, subtle, Nice sort of like cat's eye effect just in the extreme corners, but soft bokeh, not really even a strong soap bubble effect, no real onion rings, like clean, clean, clean. Stop the lens down, they're just nice and round, tight, again, no weird issues. And really look at the transitions from in focus to out of focus, buttery smooth. Zeiss have done a good job with this 35mm 1.4. You can absolutely get good separation at 1.4 with this lens, and it just, just goes into the background so nicely. Really nice. All right, guys, let's just talk you through the shot that I tried to get here. So I got this gentleman walking down the street, got the cityscape behind him. I like it, but he's moving. I'm running after him to get the shot. And you know, autofocus would do this no problem, but this is a manual focus lens. Now, I like manual focusing. I'm up for the challenge, but I do want to point out that the Zeiss Otus lenses have a really long throw, which means from your minimum to your maximum focusing distance, it's a big turn. I really got to move this lens. That's great for cinema work where I want a smooth pull, and it's great for very precise focusing when I'm punching in, where I want to just turn it slightly and get right on that point of focus. But it's tricky when you're shooting action in sports. I mean, I do prefer faster throws like Leica lenses, for example, or Leica M Mount lenses, where I can see very quickly just in the viewfinder my subject going in focus, out of focus, and back in focus, and that helps me narrow it down in a quick situation. Here I turn the ring, but I don't see much happen in the screen, and that can be a little bit tricky when you're trying to get that precise focus. Regardless, I did miss the shot. I'm not quite there. That's the charm of manual focusing, I guess. You always have to give Zeiss credit for doing a really good job correcting photographic issues within the lens, and a good example of that is their T-Star coatings. Always excellent. We've seen this in a lot of their other lenses as well. When you shoot towards bright light sources at wide apertures, you're not getting washed out areas of loss of contrast, none of that. And when we stop the lens down, you're not getting any distracting ghosting happening either. So these are fantastic for shooting on bright conditions towards bright light sources. They're very reliable. Zeiss also know how to make a very sharp lens. I mean, they're very good at that. And looking at our test chart here, 35mm f1.4 in the center, good detail, fantastic. I mean, nice contrast as well. Gets a little bit better when you stop the lens down a couple stops, absolutely, but I like the sharpness overall, even wide open. The corners are pretty good too here as well at 1.4, good corner sharpness, decent, and very little vignetting. I mean, that's important. They correct for this, so very little vignetting. Stopping the lens down to f2.8, those corners tighten up a bit. The vignetting is already well controlled, so this is a great result overall. In the world of optics, with so many different players in the game now, you really have to do something unique to set yourself apart. And Zeiss is absolutely doing that. I mean, nobody else is really taking this old school approach to correcting as many optical deficiencies as you can in the lens using talented engineering, fantastic glass, and technology. And that's absolutely a commendable approach, but every time I review a Zeiss lens, I'm left with the same thought, and that is it enough? You know, I mean, like, a lot of manufacturers out there are introducing flaws into their lenses and calling it character. Absolutely, I get that. Zeiss isn't doing that. I mean, their lenses are actually very clean. Other than the Bokeh, they're actually incredibly well corrected. They handle flare well. They got beautiful bokeh. I mean, very sharp optics. They're very clean. The real question is, can it compete against a lot of the modern lenses being made now? I mean, the Sigma 35mm f1.4 version 2 is a great example because we just reviewed that lens, and you know what? It focuses fast, like it's more compact, it's actually sharper in a lot of cases, similar bokeh, you know, similar flare protection. And so it's like, why would I spend the extra money to get this experience where I'm losing autofocus? And yeah, maybe the Sigma's gonna have a bit more vignetting and it's gonna have some distortion, which this is very free of, but those are two things that are very easy to correct in post. And so it really does beg the question, who is this lens for? You know, it's for the connoisseurs who really appreciate that more purist approach and frankly have the wallets to cover the exorbitant costs. For everybody else in the market, it just doesn't make practical sense. Like, I consider myself very lucky that they send me these to play with and to test out, because the truth is, I would never personally spend my money on these. I just can't afford it. It just doesn't make practical sense for me. But you guys let me know in the feedback what you think. Let me know in the comments if this old school approach still has merit or if it's just something that isn't going to appeal to a broad enough audience. Let us know in the comments below. We always appreciate that feedback. We talk about a lot of your feedback on the PetaPixel podcast, along with all the news going on in our industry. You should definitely check it out. It's on this exact same channel, or you can listen to it on all your favorite podcasting apps. And hey, we got got a great announcement. PetaPixel has some new merch. It's part of a collaboration with Harper Finch. If you go to the Harper Finch website, you'll see the PetaPixel pop up, and you can see all the hoodies and shirts, our custom patterns that we have on there. You might really enjoy them, so we want you to look at those too. We want to thank B&H, our sponsor for today's episode, but also consider helping us out by getting a PetaPixel.com membership. $3 a month, $30 a year. You can see all these fantastic benefits. It's definitely worthwhile. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you soon with more on PetaPixel.